this morning. A grand jury decides not to indict anyone in connection with the 2024 officer-involved shooting death of Doug Harless. And a big day for shoppers in Pikeville as a major retail store reopens 1 year after being destroyed by floodwaters.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Welcome to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Neely Green here with you on this Monday, February 23rd. The time is now 5:34, and let's check in with meteorologist Megan Duswell for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, there's snow outside.
There is snow outside. It's cold.
Yes.
It's not a great start to your day, I'll be honest with you, but at least it looks pretty if you don't look at the roadways. But if you look at the roadways, you'll realize it's definitely an icy start. Let's take a look at those temperatures, though, as we're looking at a mixture of the 20s this morning, mostly those low 20s. And by the afternoon, we'll be looking at a mixture of the low to mid 30s. Still very cold for this time of year with those snow chances staying in the forecast throughout the day. We'll see those clearing out as we're heading early into your Tuesday. Neely.
Thank you, Megan. Heavy rain Thursday night and early Friday morning caused some high water issues. At least 2 school districts were closed. I spoke to Laurel County's emergency management director about the aftermath. On Thursday, folks in Laurel County experienced heavy rain and small hail. The rain continued into Friday morning, and folks in flood-prone areas started worrying.
We did have water that overran some of the roads, floated some debris out. A lot of culverts that stopped up, some of the driveways and stuff, some of that got washed.
The standing water caused issues on roadways. Because of the potential danger, Laurel County schools were first on a 2-hour delay Friday morning, but with the rain continuing, the superintendent made the decision to close school for the day.
It's just a little after 5 o'clock that it was put on a 2-hour delay. A lot of you bus drivers are on the road early. So he tries to get ahead of that to keep them from being on the roads.
Though parts of McGoffin did see high standing water, Critter says he's grateful because it could have been much worse.
Dodged the bullet as far as water getting into any of the households that I'm not aware of any at all, where nothing came into our 911 system.
Even if there were homes that experienced flooding from this round of weather, there's not much the county can do immediately.
For a disaster to be declared, it takes multiple households for it to get into. If it gets into 1 or 2 homes, there's no disaster declared, so those people are just kind of, hopefully they have insurance on their homes.
Prater says with water still on roadways, drivers should be cautious. A few scattered power outages were also reported Friday due to high winds. Kentucky Power said they had crews working to restore power as soon as possible. At one point Friday afternoon, around 4,000 customers were without power across eastern Kentucky. The people of Pike County are beginning to see signs of progress following the flood that ravaged several communities 1 year ago. The Pike County Fiscal Court hosted a home buyout session Friday, working with the USDA to purchase properties from area flood survivors. The first home buyout took place Friday afternoon, providing payment to several property owners who are seeking to leave the floodplain area. Officials say the buyout process is a significant milestone for the county and will help fund the future for people like Sylvia Sowards, who has been waiting for a permanent place to call home since her Virgie property was hit by the flood.
Only God knows what this means to me today, because I just turned 86 6 days before the flood. I'm hoping and praying that I'll get a little house. It's small, but I don't need a big house.
USDA officials say 208 Pike County property owners have applied for the voluntary buyout program since the February flood, and they hope to buy as many properties as possible to get folks out of the danger zone. One Pike County business reopened its doors to the city Friday, just 1 year after floodwaters tore through the Coal Run community. JCPenney in the Weddington Plaza is back and in business, and customers say it's brighter and better than ever. Folks were invited to the ribbon cutting Friday, just days after the 1-year anniversary of the flood that destroyed the businesses in the shopping center. Community members say it's a sign of light and hope in the community, and they hope to see more businesses returning to the plaza.
as you can see, are starved to death for shopping because there's hardly any place to go.
Yeah.
So we are glad that they're back and ready to go.
JCPenney's store manager says the rebuild brought back 15 employees who worked there before the flood and 20 additional employees who were hired now that the business is back. This story is new this morning. Emergency crews responded to a crash in Laurel County last night. Dispatchers with the London Laurel County 911 Center say the call came in around 8:20 for a collision on South Laurel Road. You can see several cars involved, one flipping onto its side. We're working to learn more about what led up to the crash and whether anyone was hurt. Police have arrested a person for a serious crash in Laurel County. It happened around 9 p.m. Friday night near London on Kentucky 192. 2 cars were involved. One person was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, and deputies say one of the drivers, Amber Taylor, is being charged with driving under the influence. She is now in the Laurel County Correctional Center. One person is dead and 2 are hurt after a crash in Harlan County. Kentucky State Police say it happened just after 12:30 Friday in the Hiram community of Harlan County. 3 cars were involved. All 3 drivers were taken to the hospital and 2 were taken by air due to the severity of their injuries. One driver, 45-year-old Ashley Toll, was eventually pronounced dead. The investigation is ongoing. One person was killed in a house fire in Lecher County. It happened just before 8 Saturday morning at a home on Kentucky Highway 343 in the McRoberts community. He's been identified as 70-year-old Robert Mullins. Kentucky State Police say no foul play is expected. An investigation onto the fire is ongoing. Crews worked to put out a large brush fire and that broke out in Whitley County. It happened around 3 Friday on Log Cabin Road near the Canada Town community. The Woodbine Fire Department says high winds made the scene very dangerous, leading them to call in multiple agencies for help. While they were able to contain the fire, crews stayed at the scene for hours to make sure it was fully extinguished. The fire department wants to remind people that spring fire season is in effect and a daytime burn ban is in effect until the end of April. One firefighter is recovering after a massive fire in Rockcastle County. It happened Saturday afternoon at the County Road Department garage. Fire crews from several agencies were called to the fire. It took them 7 hours to put it out. The Brodhead Fire Department says the building had major damage. One of the firefighters was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Police have made 3 arrests in an organized fraudulent check scheme in Lawrence County. Louisa police say the investigation started after suspicious activity was reported on Tuesday. Investigators found that multiple suspects opened bank accounts using forged documents, as well as depositing federal tax refunds that were obtained using stolen identities. Police arrested Kason Madden of Florida, Cody Hughes of Tennessee, and Tina Dunphy of New Jersey. All 3 have been charged with organized crime and possession of forged instruments. It's been more than 1 year since the Doug Harless was shot and killed inside his home by a London police officer. State police say officers were at Harless's home to serve a search warrant when he pointed a gun at them. KSB led the investigation into the shooting and gave their findings to a special prosecutor. That prosecutor presented his findings to a grand jury last week. Friday morning, a Laurel County grand jury decided that nobody will face criminal charges in the case. Samantha Valentino has the latest.
He won't be forgotten.
Doug Harless's family tells us the 63-year-old was asleep inside his home in Lilly when nearly a dozen officers surrounded it just before midnight on December 23, 2024. Kentucky State Police say London police were there to serve a search warrant. London police say Harless pointed a gun at officers, leading them to shoot him. Officers were not wearing body cameras at the time of the shooting. Dispatch audio we obtained says officers had a warrant for 489 Vanzant Road, but the shooting happened at Harless's home, 511 Vanzant Road. While our repeated open records requests for a copy of that warrant have been denied, we've learned it was tied to an investigation into stolen lawn equipment taken from a property belonging to Laurel County Judge Executive David Westerfield.
Really, is a life worth a weed eater? A life ain't even worth $1 million.
William Eversole knew Doug Harless for roughly 2 decades. He spent many days standing here along Main Street in London holding his Justice for Doug Harless sign. Friday, he stood waiting to hear the grand jury's decision in the case. We were in the courtroom today as the grand jury decided not to indict anyone in this case. We know they considered charges of murder, manslaughter, and reckless homicide.
Honestly, I kind of figured that's what was going to happen. The lady on the side of the courthouse in the big old concrete circle with justice, she's even blindfolded. So I didn't expect much.
The London Police Department would not comment on the case, citing ongoing civil litigation. We know the Harless family has filed a lawsuit against the city, the police department, and the individual officers involved. In Laurel County, Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
The police department says they're waiting to receive the full investigative file from KSB so they can complete their administrative review. They say those findings will be shared publicly. Tributes continue to pour in following the death of actor Eric Dane, who passed away last week following his battle with ALS.
And temperatures may be much colder today, but a gradual warm-up is on the way.